Hi, my name is Brian.
My name's Chris.
And if you follow us over on Work to Game, this is on our Work to Life channel. This is kind of where we can talk about anything and everything, whether it's related to gaming or not. And we wanted to do that to respect your feed. So if you're following and you're coming from Work to Game, thanks and welcome. And if you're just now seeing an introduction to us, howdy.
So today I wanted to talk about something that's been going on. We generally keep YouTube drama kind of just between us.
Yeah.
We talk about it and we watch the videos, we read the posts, but there's been some escalation around one of the larger YouTubers, Pew Die Pie, who is sometimes labeled as a gaming YouTuber, though a lot of his content's really strayed away from that over the last few years.
He definitely started in gaming,
for sure. That's
absolutely.
what made him big.
Yeah.
But,
if we're informing you of who Pew Die Pie is, well then that would be very interesting. This last week, something really broke, and we felt we had to talk about it. And it's very sensitive in its nature. It's very, you could say controversial, but in my mind, I would label it as incredibly offensive. And so Chris and I have been talking about it. So
why is it different?
Yeah.
So he has just been he's been in the news for racial slurs in the past and different cultural things that he's done wrong. He's been called a neo-Nazi and all these different things. But a lot of those were taken out of context. A lot of those were him being kind of like an offensive comedian,
right?
Where they can go over the line to the point where even their fans may boo a joke. And he's had to retract things, and he has been for the fact that he has a large demographic of children, he has been incredibly aggressive in the past, but I think he has been poorly represented by the media. So for those of you that haven't seen the video, he was streaming a game, PUBG, a shooter, and he was shooting at somebody and was having trouble shooting them, and he called them the N-word.
Right. And that is not acceptable.
It's not acceptable.
At all. And as somebody, I saw the video because it's like...
And on its own, it could have just been taken as offensive.
Right. But then he followed it up, and this is where...
By taking it back and saying, sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
I meant this other offensive word.
I meant to call him this cuss word instead, which says, sorry, I say the N-word so much off camera that it slipped out, and in my mind... Those are synonymous. It is 100% derogatory. It's not, I listened to rap right before I got on stream, and it just slipped out one time, and I'm incredibly appalled with myself. It is just offensive across the board, through and through, and there doesn't seem to be any justification for it. I don't see a context. I don't see an offensive joke. I don't see... He hasn't made a statement about it.
At the time of this recording, no statement has been made, and it's Tuesday, and this happened, I believe, this weekend. Polygon put out an article talking about it, and that's kind of what brought it to my attention. And I went and saw the video, and I was just appalled. I was surprised. In the heat of the moment, you watch streamers, and they might curse, And
I think if you're aware of this. Honestly, this is the point in this argument where we both agree. But the reason we're making this video is because...
We don't agree.
It didn't stop there.
On something. Yeah.
This went on to get a response. This was right over the line where he's been in the news enough, and this was black and white enough. The creators of Firewatch came out and said that they're going to strike him with a copyright infringement.
Right.
No notice, no warning, and YouTube and Twitch are two big platforms when we talk about gaming, so for the sake of this, let's just lump them in together.
Right.
But those strikes matter. If you come out and you strike one of our videos with no warning, no ability for us to take it down or retract it or defend it, we only get so many strikes before we lose our channel.
Right.
Whether or not he needs the money has nothing to do with it.
Correct.
It is still his channel. It is still his investment. And so to lose it over something with no ability to defend, no court of law is controversial. And so we kind of stood on opposite ends, which is why we're making this video, because we wanted to get it out there and see kind of what you guys thought.
And so a part of this video, we're covering a couple of different points, because we already talked about what happened. I don't want to dwell, we don't want to spend too much time on that.
It happened. There's plenty of coverage. Polygon did an article. Philip DeFranco did a great breakdown on kind of his thoughts on it.
Should it be punished? And then if so, by whom? Who would be who's the body here that would,
who enforces it? What is the punishment? What does that look like?
Is it copyright infringement? Regarding
We're not lawyers,
the takedown.
but I have some understanding of a few things that we try to avoid copyright strikes on here on the channel.
What does it mean for other YouTubers? Because obviously
gamers.
Yeah, specifically gamers.
Because that's who's stereotyped.
And there's other things that are going
they
on.
That the fact that he was playing a game is what led to this being derogatory. Because nobody's ever been derogatory outside of a video game. Apparently,
there is some. There obviously people have that perception, and perception is reality of gamers being hateful and offensive.
And it's not totally false because gamers target boys between 13 and 17, which, when left to their own devices unsupervised, aren't known for being...
It's not an excuse. It's still not an excuse.
I mean, if you think back to even just in college, when it's 4 guys sitting in a room, occasionally something inappropriate is said. I'm not saying to this degree, I'm not saying it justifies it, but to say, oh, these people seem really crude, well, yes. Like boys in general are known for being a little crude, and they're kind of given the okay for it at a certain age.
Yeah, and so those are the kind of the topics that is going to surround this entire video. To start off,
should it be punished?
Should it be punished? And I have to answer the question,
who's
the body?
So the question is, what rule did he break?
Right.
I understand that we're all offended, but what rule did he break?
Right.
What line did he actually cross?
Well, it's more of a cultural line.
So if Twitch or YouTube have a monetization policy where they have a morality clause kind of built into their terms of service that says we have to be advertiser friendly, they absolutely have the right to take action against him.
And so they can do that. They can demonetize.
But they're not the ones coming after him.
No. This is coming from right now a developer, a game developer who has, and he rightfully so, admitted that they have made money off of the Firewatch, like 5.7 million views that Pew Die Pie did a while back.
So do they have the right to punish him?
Yes, I think they do.
On what grounds?
Now, on grounds that
they're claiming copyright infringement as their grounds,
right? Well, because that's
it's a takedown notice.
This is where everything is gray. So first of all, like kind of a little history though, is like H3H3 won a lawsuit helping fair use. This is huge for fair use.
It's a question of free speech, and not all. This is really big in news right now because there's a lot of polarizing issues happening in politics all over the world.
All over.
We live in America, so that's what we're mostly exposed to, but it's happening everywhere.
Yeah,
and the internet has made it very easy to put everybody in their little vacuum.
And that echo chamber is something that people talk about, but it's comfortable, it's easy, it's safe.
It's very easy.
Everybody here agrees with me. This is, anyway.
So H3H3 had a video, and it kind of parodied another YouTube creator. Well, it wasn't as mean as I thought it was for the reaction. I watched it and expected it, because it got taken down before I saw it, and for it to be the one thing that finally broke the camel's back, but it wasn't. And it's protected kind of under the same rules as parody. And so kind of like a Weird Al Yankovic, you can't just go out and post somebody's song, but if you change it. And so that's where the term transformative comes into play. Copyright infringement is not black and white. There is no rule that says you can use up to 30 seconds of content. Those are all myths. That's junk. What it actually is that you have to, first of all, transform it. It's like plagiarism. You have to make it enough your own, right? So you can review it, you can critique it, but you can't just repost it. And you have to do so in a way that doesn't take away from the copyright owner's ability to make a living off of it. It can get really gray, and that's why there's copyright lawyers who specialize in this and are a whole lot brighter at it than we will ever be.
The problem here, and this relates to the copyright and the should it be punished, is that the Let's Plays and the fair use for gaming, specifically for gaming, is still in a murky area. Where this gets to be very complex is that now we're going to actually bring in Nintendo. And with Nintendo, they and we at Work the Game have entered into an agreement with them, and that's what's required for you to post videos featuring Nintendo characters, Let's Plays with Zelda. You have to do this. Even people in the comments, and they even flamed us for doing so. They're saying, no, you need to fight Nintendo. Everybody who goes into this is only strengthening them, and they're right in that degree. But we don't have the overwhelming power to go into a fair use lawsuit.
And I wanted to play them and show them on stream.
Right.
And so you can either play by the rules or not play at all. Firewatch posted on their website, we love streamers.
You can stream.
You can stream. It's a statement like almost that exact simple.
Right.
That doesn't have any clauses. There was no agreement entered into.
Unless you X, Y, and Z. What I'm saying, though, is that going forward, it's not a matter of like, so is it copyright infringement? No. Because
I don't think it is, because the fact that they don't like it tells me that it's somewhat transformative in nature, because they obviously believe he's transformed the game.
Well, yeah, and they've profited off of it.
And they admitted they profited off it, which says that he's not in their way to make money.
Going forward, I bet we see that clause updated. I bet, from a legal perspective, they're going to get in. And the question is will others join them? And that ties into Nintendo, again, being off here. If more and more people go that route, it's going to be harder and harder from that fair use fight. It only is going to strengthen the legal case later down the road to say, no.
My issue is with the way they're handling the takedown notice. My issue is that they didn't go through the normal 24 hours, give them a chance to take it down, give them a chance to apologize, and then change yourself moving forward. That if we take the offense out of it, I think my issue is that because it was so blatantly over the line, it wasn't, he said the F word 13.7 times per minute, and we only allow 13.2 times per minute over a 2-hour stream.
Right.
It wasn't, because it was so over the line, people suddenly removed the process. And so it's like if we have a rule against murder, and then somebody murders a celebrity, and we all like that celebrity. So we believe that person needs to immediately be given the death penalty, forget the trial, No, we still have to follow the rules.
Right.
So that's my issue with it, is that what if we stop following the rules in this one instance, because it was so blatant, because it's such an open and shut case,
right?
Where does that stop?
I don't think there's a governing body that has, some kind of say. They can't, Felix is not a part of Makers anymore. That all broke down.
It would be YouTube or Twitch.
Right. YouTube or Twitch would only be it. But the third option, and this is where, and again, like we said, at this point, he has made no statement.
It's not illegal.
He should self-punish in that regards. He should take, from an apology perspective, from the effect that he's had and that word has. And so I think this is the punishment should be self-governed because there's no body. The thing is that I do see that going forward, that there's going to be more of that morality. Hey, if you're posting, if you're agreeing to be a partner on YouTube or some MCN or some form of whatever, that language is going to get tighter, and that's going to, I think, essentially be punishment across the board. Now it's even harder because there are these people up at the top who don't feel it, won't feel the burn, and it's harder for you, noob-tuber, I refer to us as noob-tubers, to get into that vein. And so the punishment is, I feel, it's like...
It's going to ruin it for everybody.
This isn't because of Felix. People attribute the apocalypse to him. But there's all these other things. There's all these other things going on behind the scenes. Felix, I feel like he absolutely has to... issue an apology, but I think that it has to be more than words. But that's just my opinion. I think that because I think he should. I don't know what that action is.
No, I don't think that they have the right to have taken him down in the way they took him down, because I don't feel that it follows the process. And if they don't follow the process this time, my issue is they won't have to follow it next time. They can say, well, we didn't like the way that Brian wore a backward cap. Now Brian gets a takedown. Okay, then can they discriminate against anybody that cusses? Yes. Okay, then can they discriminate against anybody who doesn't like their game? Sure, they don't like it. And then just, at what point do we lose free speech?
The answer is just you're not going to lose free speech. You're going to have more legal speech in all of these agreements and all of these games, and essentially to the point where whenever you're hitting the terms of service to any game you're playing, that we're going to see streaming clauses baked into that, so that they as a company, because they own it, like they own Firewatch, they do. Square Enix owns Final Fantasy. It's not this instance. It's what happens after that. This in this case, whether I don't know if this is the stick on the camel, I don't know if this is, but I think this is kerosene for the fire that is coming, that needs to define the fair use regarding Let's Plays and regarding streaming. And the only way that streamers come out ahead is there has to be some kind of, case. There has to be some language. We have to get it defined. Whether, I don't think the Firewatch guys have the right to do what they're trying to do with the immediate takedown. I think, they have to follow protocol. but that doesn't mean they can't change it, and that doesn't mean they can't get other developers on board. This word is so offensive. Like, I'm offended. My two nephews are black. They've got enough going like against them in society being a mixed race, and then they love Pew Die Pie, and here he is just using this word. Yeah, and it makes me mad for it, and I'm getting emotional. And so that piece in of itself is that do more and more people follow that route. Now, then they can do the takedown the way they want. It's like, okay, well, here we go. But now you see the words being brought in, and it's like, I think it could be a huge loss for gaming and streaming and fair use. The only way that you can find it is it has to be defined and has to be agreed upon. And in my opinion, and what I was telling Chris, like via text messages, I think Nintendo looks like the genius here because of their restrictions. And yet I don't agree with Nintendo. I don't like their policy whatsoever. And it actually is something that keeps us from picking up certain Nintendo games.
Sure.
It's like,
if I have two games that I want to play, they both seem like they'd be fun or kind of iffy fun, like I'm on the fence.
Right.
And one of them, I'm going to have to go through all these hoops, and every video, regardless of the revenue, which I have an opinion on, regardless of the revenue, we have to manually log into this separate thing and pre-flag those videos so that they don't get caught by the copyright algorithm, and so that technically Nintendo takes ownership, but then they share. It's all convoluted. Or I have this other game where I just make videos and upload them. It's an easy pick to go do the simple one. And so I would have loved to play Splatoon this summer, but it didn't make the cut, and I don't know how much the Nintendo Creators Program played a role in that. Does that start to say, okay, now only people that are partnered can play certain games?
Right.
And so now all of a sudden it's hard to get in. You have to submit an application for, like a job.
Yeah.
And so we've turned ours in, and it gets reviewed by people. And then when we don't get a feedback, they're not trying to help us. We'll just get a flat no or a flat yes here in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then if we get a flat no, we have to wait until we feel that our case has changed and then apply for it again.
Yeah.
And so what does that look like? YouTube gaming, does that require an additional, do you have to take an online course like defensive driving?
Well, I mean,
you can show game footage?
We're considered partnered with YouTube. That's how you can monetize. And they made some changes to that policy. Thus, and at the end of the day, like the math of it is that you have to say that for the first $20 that you might make via ad revenue, you're not going to make now. Because that way you don't have somebody just posting this just horrible content, making a lot of money right away, and then, and then being out the gate. And again, like, what does this mean for YouTubers? And it means that...
And is it different because Felix said this versus somebody who has one subscriber?
Because of his stature? Absolutely. However, every individual has a responsibility not to be a douchebag.
Sure.
It's like, I think that should be baked into
the punishment of it, because he's so public, because he's so large, where is that threshold? Because people say the same about the money and stuff here on YouTube.
Yeah.
99% of the YouTube channels make under $40,000 a year. 99%. You are already in the top 1% if your channel makes $40,000 a year, which in many parts of the US,
congratulations, good for you. It's somewhat of a living.
It's somewhat of a living.
Depends on where you live.
It really does.
In California, that's going to be rough.
But the vast majority of YouTube, this is a hobby or a side gig or a marketing towards, hey, I make T-shirts on stream and then I sell the T-shirts. It's part of a bigger scheme, or it's just a hobby. For us, it's a hobby.
Right.
It's an enjoyable hobby, and I want to do more of it with every minute I have, but that's all it is.
Right.
So where is that line, and who's responsible for educating? Because you talk about the terms of service in games having it.
Yes.
But are we now going to have, when I create a social media platform, YouTube, Twitch, doesn't matter, down the road, doesn't matter. It'll all change over time. Is there now going to be you have to take these 10 hours worth of courses before you get an account, because they have to educate you now, because they can't just suddenly at 701,000 subscribers, that's the line. Not 699, you're a hobbyist, 701 professional.
But you think of the NFL, eventually they had to have a commission that regulates all of what makes people NFL. Same thing with YouTube, and whether that's YouTube themselves, Twitch themselves, or a governing body of social media and these things that has the authority to manage you across platforms. This is something that, again, wild speculation because of your clout, because of the fact is that you've got millions of eyes, millions of years. You're influencing generation. Are they looking at this and saying this is acceptable language? This is acceptable behavior.
And you have
to bite that in, and that's where it's at right now. Our best bet is self-regulation.
When we debated this for the last day, Brian was quick to say immediate punishment, and my question was immediately from where, and what is the process that governs that? So it's like when there's a shooting in a school. There's two ways that people react. And the way Brian's reacting to this is very common. We immediately need to focus on the families and the children and the loss, and it's very emotional. And that is 100% a valid response. It's wonderful that we have people that do that, because those are the people that go there and give aid and give the emotional support those families need. And then there's the other side, which is the side I tend to lean toward. When something bad happens, I actually get less emotional and I get more logical. That's just how I process things.
How do we fix this from happening in the future?
And so I immediately am the guy who wants to talk about gun control and talk about how did this happen? Why did this happen?
How can we prevent it from happening?
I understand that he made this. I understand that it's offensive. I can be mad later. But right now, we need to talk about how did he have the ability to say this? How did he have the ability to say it in such context? What does it mean, and who gets damaged by it? And therefore, who has the right to go back and punish him? And do we have the ability to punish him retroactively, or do we have to let this one go for the sake of the process and punish moving forward? Because sometimes we have to let the first guy go, and that's not fair or right. It just is, because that's
life.
That's life. And you have to say, you know what, we didn't set speed limits on the road. So the first guy that killed somebody driving too fast, we can't punish him for driving too fast.
We now
because he didn't know.
Can define that, and the thing is that, I still stand by the fact that there needs to be some kind of action, and it needs to be public, and it needs to be swift. I'm interested to see if they actually immediately did a takedown, or if it's like, okay, we're going to do the process, and they went about it. But the language and the stance is important.
Very public.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Public. And the question is that
they called him a child.
Yeah, his words were strong. Called him a child.
He's been on the platform 10 years. He's around my age. He's not a child. If this was criminal, he would risk going to jail. Nobody would feel sorry for him. He has millions of dollars. He's been doing this for a significant amount of time, so he's not a lottery winner. This is people who are mad at how much money he's making don't realize the sheer time he put in. When he dropped out of school, he worked at like a hot dog stand. And made bare ends meet so that he could spend more time making videos. He has put in his time, and whether or not I like his content,
I have no issue with people making money.
He has earned his place on the platform.
And I'm be clear, I'm not arguing that he has no right to be and hasn't put in the hours.
So I don't think he's a child.
I still think that being quiet and not saying anything infers that there is some type of support, because there are these gaming companies, big and small, that have made a lot of money. I mean, heck, you even look at the success of Flappy Bird. That's all due to Felix and him telling people not to play it, which then drove that. I mean, the guy who made it was like making tons of money off of it. And he
anything he touches,
because is huge. That's why I think it's important that.
And what stops it? The Maker Network kicked him out for all the publicity he got before. He
only did better. He's
not worse off. And now there's no profit sharing.
Right. And so there's only that's only better for him in the long run. But that's why it's important that action is taken. And my vote, and that's why I say punishment, is that he takes it against himself. This is scary stuff because of the implementations.
And I want to like their comment. I do. I want to be happy that somebody was so quick to say, I'm not going to answer on the book. I'm not going to be politically correct.
Right.
Just no. Right. And I want to appreciate that. My fear is then, you took your brother's favorite toy, and so you hit him in the face. And so I want to be glad that for taking the toy, he will now know better, and I didn't have to step in and punish him. Hopefully your punishment was enough. And if not, I can go in and just say, you know what? I'm not going to punish you, but I want you to know you got hit in the face, and this is why, and I want you to think about that. Yeah. And so I like that, but then I also now have to deal with you, because I now have a separate person.
You have two issues.
You can't just go around threatening to take down people's channels. You didn't set the rules. This is your fault. You created the ability for this to happen, and you recklessly said, surely somebody won't ever say the N-word while playing our game. Mm-hmm. Sure. And you were wrong.
Yeah.
And that's on you.
We all are getting punished for it. We all will be getting punished for it.
And we're all guilty for it.
Mm-hmm.
We all made PewDiePie what he is. Whether or not I'm a subscriber, society as a whole has given him this power.
Mm-hmm. And they can take it back, and that's really the question.
And this is a common theme, is you see kids, you know, if we go back to kids, you see kids behave a certain way, and we're quick to blame the parents, but the kid is also responsible. So, yes, I think Felix needs to be punished. No, I don't think this was copyright infringement.
Right.
I do think that it's going to hurt gamers in particular, but social media, especially the live stuff as a whole, you know, in the past, live radio, live broadcasting has always been left to a certain level of professionals, and even they play with a delay now.
And there's also regulation by the FCC. And there's a reason there's a delay. Is ESPN can be fined by the FCC, and so now this is worldwide. So can he be fined by the FCC of every country for doing this? Who governs this? I don't think that there was
the reason we have government agencies.
Yeah, I don't think there was any literal this in my view again is that it's just kerosene, you know. And that things are going to happen and things will move because of it, depending on how.
And what do those fines look like?
I don't know.
And if their minimums are $250,000, and I don't have somebody to watch my delay button, and I don't have the technology to set up a delay button, am I no longer capable of being a streamer?
And that's
what does it mean? I think there's a risk that something slips out that shouldn't. And if the FCC takes over, it's not just going to be the N-word. The N-word doesn't bother me because I don't say it, but if the FCC says,
I don't even try to listen.
There are rules there are things that can't be said on cable television that I do say.
Right.
There are things that I watch HBO that they say that,
this has a huge
classified
impact.
Like HBO, or are we classified? We're free and we're open to the internet. So am I now not allowed to say the F word?
Yeah, and that's the thing is that you look at the issues with like the ISPs and the keeping the internet open and net neutrality and all of these things. Net neutrality is governed by the FCC. Like there are so many things that
I think it should be governed by the FCC. Saw this. I don't think that the companies can be trusted, and therefore I don't think I don't want to know what Firewatch's morality clause is. I agree with him on the N-word, but how do I know that he feels that gamers aren't good, that girls aren't good gamers?
Right, exactly.
And now because he's allowed to say this, he's going to say, you know what? I also don't want Julie playing my game. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's what would happen. That's an extreme. That's a very example.
But it's hopefully to underscore the point of that. When we talk about the topic, well, what does this mean for YouTube and Twitch? It means that if we can't self-regulate, someone's going to do it for us. And that is what...
And it's way scarier, because they're not going to agree with you on every point. And they're not going to agree with you on how to enforce it, what's enforced, when it's enforced. They're going to set it their way. And they're going to have good intentions. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good result.
No. And so that's for, I'm disgusted by what Felix said. I don't think it's copyright infringement, but for the future,
there's no other way to take it down.
But for there's no other way to take it down yet, and it's for the future, for the implement. This, because of his size, like people, on YouTube probably say horrible things about each other all the time. But their one or two views aren't going to raise the attention or going to get on media. Like it's perception here is key. When my mom's talking to me about it, what the heck is going on? She just watches our videos and likes seeing my face. That's what her context is. And when she's asking me, like, what's going on with YouTube and PewDiePie, I go, because Fox News is reporting on it, because CNN's reporting on it, because it's in her Facebook feed. And perception is reality. It's just, and that's where him taking out of context in the spring, it was context. He was making bad jokes, and whether I agree with it or not.
And him doing this...
It's only
hurts everybody who defended him.
Yeah.
And so he was right before, and I was willing to defend him. And now I'm glad I didn't. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair, because you should take everybody at each individual action. I'm glad you didn't defend him either. And I think I felt it was out of context. And whether or not his humor was my humor, I don't personally watch a lot of PewDiePie.
I don't.
But that's
I would never, but...
I've tried tons of different creators, and some do things for me and some don't. Some I doesn't do much. And I think it's great that they're out there for the people who like to watch them.
Mm-hmm. So
that's it.
Yeah, I want to put the question out to you guys in the community. Let us know what your thoughts are, especially as it relates to, should it be punished? Is it copyright infringement? What does this mean for the future of YouTube and Twitch social media and gaming in general. I mean, because this is like, we're really more focused on gaming, but we'd love to know your thoughts and have that conversation with you.
So this has been Chris.
And Brian.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Hey, it's me. Thanks so much for watching this video. You should click here to subscribe and here to maybe check out some more of our videos. So again, thanks for watching. We hope you like this video. We hope you subscribe and join our community. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and we'll see you next time.